Busy back-to-back conversations here in the 7 o'clock hour. We have Roger Marshall, Kansas U.S. Senator, joining us on KCMO. Mayor Quinton Lucas at 7:35. Senator, good morning. I just want to start off, we haven't spoken over the last several days. You were at that Super Bowl parade. You were there when, obviously all the chaos unfolded. And you also had an opportunity to meet one of the heroes coming out of last week. Before we get to the news of the day and news of the week, tell us about that visit and what the last few days have been like for you.
Right. Well, Pete, it's been an emotional roller coaster for all of us who are part of Chiefs Kingdom. It was the highest of highs and the lows of lows, and I think we're all still mourning and grieving, especially for the loss of life and for the family who lost a loved one, for the people that are healing as well, all those things. So, I'm just as emotional about this as everybody. We were in Wichita yesterday and got to meet a young man and his wife who did stop one of the perpetrators. It was really an interesting story. He said his whole life he wanted to stop a bad guy. And he saw this happen and saw the opportunity. And it's not like this. I thought, well, maybe this guy's a Navy SEAL or, he's an all-state wrestler, but he was a very normal, average-sized person. He saw the opportunity. He tackled the person. His wife saw the gun fall out of the person's clothing. She pushed the gun away and said she stood over the gun, and then somebody else joined her, and somebody else helped the other guy. But, that's what Kansans do, is they do the right thing, and, it doesn't bring back the life of the young lady that we lost, but this Kansan did the right thing. Very proud of him.
That's pretty amazing stuff, and glad you got to meet him. Now, when you look at what you've been doing around the state, I know for you, you've been doing some human trafficking forums around the state of Kansas. And listen, I don't think most people realize what's going on in this state on that front. We know it ties back to some of the issues at the border. So just how bad is this issue in Kansas? Why is Kansas maybe unique on the human trafficking front, and what can be done?
Yeah, at the end of the day, Pete, wherever there's drug trafficking, there's going to be human trafficking. That's always the next step. What they try to do with this fentanyl is get people addicted. Some people, it kills them. One pill can kill, but if you don't die from it, you get addicted to it very easily. And then they start trafficking those people. And let's just be really blunt here. They're selling their bodies for sex. It can be boys or girls. And sometimes they're selling them for labor as well. But the sexual exploitation is just exploding across the country. It's why Kansas is in a unique situation. Just like we're at the crossroads of drug trafficking, we're at the crossroads of human trafficking as well. People coming up from being smuggled into this country via the Mexican border, of course. And a lot of these people are basically indentured servants. They pay the cartel maybe half of the $7,000 per person before they start the trip, and then they owe them the other half when they get here, and they have to, quote, work it off. And maybe you work it off in a restaurant, and maybe you work it off selling your body. But it is way more common than we realize. And what I was trying to do is just get law enforcement together, better educate myself so we can start recognizing, well, what does it look like? And then we'll try to educate the public a little bit better as well. But I think the bottom line from yesterday is where there's drugs, there's human trafficking.
Are there certain hot spots in the state that are having bigger issues with this than others?
Well, I think the bigger the communities are, is where most of it's going to be as well. I think that the opportunity for this is really graphic, Pete. It's hard to talk about. But if they put a person, one of their employees, and I guess the wrong word, one of the people they're trafficking into a hotel room where they can bring customers in there, 10, 20, 40 of them over a weekend, then you need larger counts of people that are searching this out as well. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be the bigger communities.
All right. Now, catch us up to speed on anything at all with the border here. It sounds like the president is actually considering, using his executive powers, which he's always had, to help solve the border crisis that we all know exists. Do you see that being the way forward? Is that going to happen?
We'll see. There's the election is starting to loom. The president is seeing his numbers go down. But the important point is what you just said, is that the president's always had the power. When he became president, he did over 90 executive orders that opened up the border. So he needs to reverse those orders and start. He could even today say this is a crisis, this is an emergency. He could literally shut down the entire border and do catch and remain in Mexico overnight if he wanted to. I think that's probably is the only path forward. The president, my friends across the aisle, have no interest in real border security. It was all a charade. They acted like they wanted to negotiate, but they were not willing to really give anything on policy that mattered.
Mm-hmm. Roger Marshall is on KCMO Talk Radio. And last thing, Doc, before I know we got to let you go, but the bailouts of student loans continued yesterday. I don't know. It looks like just buying votes to me. What am I missing?
No, I think it's unconstitutional once again. Even the Supreme Court said he can't do this, that only Congress can appropriate money. So somebody pays for this, okay? Yeah. There's no free lunch. Somebody's paying for it, so your listeners are paying for this. And I'm just going to throw in really quickly that any of your listeners having problems with their student applications, their fund applications for college, they can call our office. I know less than 20% are processed. Once again, something this White House has rolled out through their education department is exploding, and the kids can't, and they're not all kids, young adults can't get their student financial forms through the system right now as well. So we're trying to work on that.
Can Congress do anything, though, or is it just like you guys control the purse string, right? So how do they just spend this money?
It is frustrating that eventually it's the job of the executive branch to execute the laws. So they've rolled out a new technology. This reminds me going back through the ACA when it was implemented, Obamacare, through meaningful use. They said, here, everybody do this, and literally just shut down our hospitals for weeks at a time trying to implement the new technology. So they've tried to implement new technology. It's blown up. We can't go backwards. So I visited with several college presidents across the state already, and it may be this summer before they can tell a young student what does their financial aid look like to go to school. So it's a huge problem. Once again, something the White House has been unable to execute.
But Congress can't stop it.
No, I think it would be the genie's out of the bottle. I don't know how we could stop it that would make it worse at this point in time.
Well, Senator, thank you as always for the time. We appreciate you.
All right, Pete. Take care.
All right. Roger Marshall on KCMO. Good to have him here.